Hi, folks. Well, newly seated Justice Brett Kavanaugh just failed his first test on the Supreme Court. On December 10th, Kavanaugh sided against small government, the Constitution, and justices like Clarence Thomas and with leftists to deny a hearing of a case that could have allowed states to remove abortion provider Planned Parenthood from their roster of Medicaid service providers. Welcome, everyone. Here's the information I have for you. On December 10th, Justice Kavanaugh sided with Chief Justice John Roberts and 4 overt leftists to let stand a Fifth Circuit court ruling that struck down efforts of multiple states to remove Planned Parenthood from their roster of Medicaid provider contractors. Now, these states had people in their legislatures and in their bureaucracies who worried that Planned Parenthood had been accused of providing fetal parts for profit. Well, it turns out that the Fifth Circuit found in favor of Planned Parenthood and against these people, and Justice Kavanaugh and the leftists on the bench let that ruling stand.
So here's how the votes came down. Chief Justice John Roberts and the court's newest justice, Brett Kavanaugh, agreeing with the liberals on the bench, voting against taking the case. The 3 conservative justices who sided with the Republican-led states that brought the case were Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch.
So this means that the states cannot remove Planned Parenthood from their Medicaid providers. And this inspired people like Clarence Thomas to respond very fiercely. Quote, "So, what explains the court's refusal to do its job here? I suspect it has something to do with the fact that some respondents in these cases are named Planned Parenthood. Some tenuous connection to a politically fraught issue does not justify abdicating our judicial duty. If anything, neutrally applying the law is all the more important when political issues are in the background." End quote. And of course, that is a very valid statement, to which I would only add to Justice Thomas that anything that goes before you in front of the Supreme Court is, by its nature, by its very definition, a political issue because it deals with the polis. But that being said, this is the entity, the members of which long ago adopted the idea of what is called judicial review, to look at something and find out whether a law is constitutional. Not only that, its members also swear oaths to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. So, the issue of Planned Parenthood being included or removed from the Medicaid rosters of the states is actually emblematic of a larger key issue. The question of whether or not Medicaid itself is constitutionally sanctioned. And for that, all we have to do is turn to the Constitution and see that no, there is no enumerated power providing the Congress with any ability to hand out money for health care in any way. It is simply not there. In addition to that, the 14th Amendment makes us think even more strictly about Planned Parenthood being included in any roster of any government-funded program. Why? Because the 14th Amendment has a clause in it that mandates all states must equally protect everyone under the law. Therefore, if states have laws prohibiting murder, if states have laws punishing people for taking the lives of other human beings, it behooves anyone who wants to vote or support politicians on any side of this issue to decide where they stand on what is a human life. Because the states must equally protect everyone who is a human being. So, again, as I have said before, this we might ask of people. Please consider whether or not you think a fetus is a human being. And we can draw you through a logical syllogism. The question that first arises is the fetus a distinct human? Yes. Upon conception, the fetus has distinct human DNA, which is no longer either of the parents. It is its own DNA. It is an individual. Second, is it being? Yes, upon the moment of conception, it has stepped onto that great arc of life, that continuum that starts at conception and ends at death. And we are all on that continuum. So, by definition, the fetus at the moment of conception is a human being, a distinct human being. Therefore, anybody who gets involved with the voting process or wants to get involved in politics in any way whatsoever and believes that the Constitution is the law of the land should look at the 14th Amendment and wonder whether Planned Parenthood fits into this. If Planned Parenthood is providing abortions upon demand and allowing doctors to take human lives. That is a very fundamental question, and it can't be frivolously passed off by saying, well, Medicaid is providing health care to men, and so it should provide equal health care services to women and not discriminate against women's health choices. Because we're not just talking about the woman here, we're talking about another individual human being who could be destroyed. This is not a superficial question. This is a fundamental moral, ethical question which many people do not want to approach. And it seems the people on the bench, in the majority of the Supreme Court, do not want to approach it.
The larger question is what will happen down the road to Roe v. Wade. And we know the 4 liberals don't want to take that up. And I think today is a signal from Chief Justice John Roberts and from Brett Kavanaugh that there's a big flashing sign that says, not now, that they do not want to tangle with even a tangential reproductive rights question here.
Now, there's plenty of room for Justice Kavanaugh to make some good decisions. But right now, he started off with a very, very bad beginning. Cross our fingers, see what happens. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to spread the word. We really appreciate it. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.